an excellent. Do you have any specific questions for me before I turn it over to Angie? Okay.
I'm going to switch over screens. Like Gretchen said, both she and I are going to be speaking today. So let me open back up. Let's see. And I'm having trouble switching. Let me, so we're going to take a short break, and after I get screen switched, I will have a QR code up that we want you to scan so that you can be registered to win some prizes.
Thanks, Angie. So we're going to take a couple minutes break, but please come back. I'm John Hopkins. I'm the Northern California rep, and then Lloyd Martinez is the Southern California. We have, if you hit the QR code, we're going to give away a $350 shopping spree. And then we heard teachers like coffee, so we're going to give away a bunch of Starbucks gift cards.
Ooh.
So, couple more minutes, and then Angie's going to go through and actually show you some of the options that I think you're going to like.
Okay, so hopefully I got switched over okay. We were saying a little bit earlier that that the pandemic has taught us quite a bit about virtual learning. Do you see my full screen now, John? Oh, you're muted. Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay. So what you see on the screen is that QR code. And if you'll scan that, it's a really short thing to fill out because the prizes are going to be great. Now, like it says on the screen, the prizes will be awarded at the conclusion of the conference. So if you come to the conference Friday, Saturday, Lloyd and John will be drawing some names, and they're going to include that $350 hand-to-mind shopping spree. So whatever you want out of the catalog, as well as those great Starbucks gift cards and a phonemic awareness and phonics toolkit, your choice of a grade level, kindergarten, first or second, and teaching with math manipulatives kit. So you'll want to make sure that you scan that code. I've also put another QR code on there in case you want to check out some recommendations that we have for your summer programs. So we're going to give you just a couple of minutes to do that, and then we will be ready to roll.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
I'm on my phone right now, so I can't really do anything like that with the QR code. I don't think I can.
Okay,
So-
we uploaded this PowerPoint into the Google Docs. So you should be able to access that there. They will also have this QR code in the booth. So it'll be the same QR code. So if you don't get it right now, if you're in person Friday and Saturday, you can just scan it in the booth.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks, Angie. And if you are going to the on-site conference, please stop by the Hand to Mind booth. We definitely want to show you, and towards the end of the conference, we've been known to give away some samples. So yeah,
a lot of samples.
Yes. Hey, Bill, the PowerPoint will be in the drive for them to access.
I'm sorry, John, you broke up a little bit on this.
Yeah, will the PowerPoint, the presentation be in the drive where they can access?
Yes, we're recording.
Cool, perfect.
Okay, fabulous. Okay, I think we're about ready to get started. So let me introduce myself. I'm Angie Meredith, and I'm a consultant with Hand to Mind. I am a former classroom teacher, so I taught all grade levels, worked with all grade levels. I taught summer school every year, loved it. I was also an intervention specialist, as well as an academic math coach. So I've been in education for 40 plus years. Okay, I'm excited to be here with you because I'm excited to share with you some great products from Hand to Mind. I use these products in my classroom, so it just made sense for me to move on and become a consultant with them. And as Gretchen said a little bit earlier, our materials at Hand to Mind are extremely hands-on. Everything we do is hands-on. So whether it's math or literacy or SEL or STEM or science, everything is hands-on because we believe that children learn best by doing. We're also extremely inventive. So we're always creating great ways to fill gaps in your curriculum. So if there's a need that you have in your curriculum, all you need to do is reach out to either John or Lloyd, or reach to the company Hand to Mind if you don't have their contact information, and we will make sure that we meet your needs. And we're proven. So we're classroom tested, teacher approved. Most of our materials were designed by teachers for teachers. Now, we have changed our name over the years. You might have materials that say ETA or ETA Cuisinaire or ETA Hand to Mind. So we've dropped all that and we are now just Hand to Mind. The thing we haven't dropped is our philosophy. So our philosophy is that we will always remain hands-on. Okay, so here's the agenda I hope to accomplish over the next little while. We want to talk about SEL and why it's important. We also want to explore a little bit with some products that we have to meet those SEL needs. We're going to look at using manipulatives in both math and literacy. We're going to look at learning at home kits and make it, take it science kits, our ever famous versatiles. And then we're going to have questions. So we'll try to hold on. Hopefully you have something you can jot down some questions near you so that we have all the questions at the very end. Okay, let's get rolling. The first thing I want to ask you, and I want you to actually put an answer into the chat. I want to know, why is social and emotional development important in our after-school programs? Why do we even need to be concerned about it? So if you'll just pop into the chat and give me a quick answer on that. Or maybe you don't think it's important. You can pop that in too. Ooh, to continue to help our students. That's exactly right. Class is exhausting and stressful. And to understand needs, improve our kids' performance, we all want that. We are helping to shape our kids into great humans. I like that. To great people. Good. And we do have students coming in from a lot of different diverse backgrounds and needs. And you're right, they can't learn if they're struggling socially. It's what we do best. Oh, these are great. And students want to be heard and need to talk. These are great responses. So I think all of you are on the same page as I am, that social and emotional learning is extremely important because our students in our classrooms are experiencing higher levels of stress now more than ever before. And as a teacher and a director, if you provide those meaningful SEL opportunities for your students, it goes beyond giving them the tools to manage a very difficult and different school year. And it also prepares them for life in the future. And somebody mentioned that as well. We are trying to develop good people. Okay, so we want to make time for what matters most in our school year and after school programs as well. And take a look at what Aristotle said. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. So let's take a look at some of our SEL products. Now, the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, CASEL, defines social emotional learning as the process through which children and adults understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy to others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. Okay, so they outline 5 core competencies for SEL. So take a look at the screen. The first one that they outline is self-awareness. So we want in self-awareness to recognize and label emotions, linking feelings and thoughts. They also mention responsible decision-making, which we probably all need, identifying solutions for problems, making those reasoned judgments, and open-mindedness. The third one is relationship skills. So when I'm looking at relationship skills, I'm thinking about developing those positive relationships, kindness, teamwork, collaboration, communication, and resolving conflict. The fourth core competency is social awareness. And in social awareness, we're looking at empathy, culture, diversity. And the last one, self-management. In self-management, we want to stress that management strategies. We want self-discipline. We want setting goals and managing our emotions. So just as important as our math and reading and our other academic subjects are, these SEL skills are foundational for academic and personal success. And Hand to Mind uses this particular framework when we're developing our SEL products and our programs. Okay, so children with strong social and emotional skills are aware of their feelings and the feelings of others, and they respond to them in socially appropriate ways. Okay, so the first product that I want to talk with you about is a great one called Learn About Feelings Activity Set. And this particular set, very easy to use, works on building that social awareness and encouraging that self-management and developing those relationship skills. Let's take a look at it. So this particular set has 6 blocks. So it's got 2 face blocks, 2 body blocks, and 2 question blocks. It's got some stickers to put on your question box, and it does have 3 different languages. So if you've got those ELL learners and you prefer to use Spanish instead of English, or maybe you want a mix of it. We also have 12 character cards, 18 situation cards, a feeling chart, and an activity guide. Very easy to use. So the first part I would look at is an activity called How Would It Feel? And in this particular activity, you're going to show a purple situation card. So take a look at the card that I've got on the screen. And you would select a character block or a card that shows a feeling that someone else might have in that situation. And then students would then explain that situation and that feeling chosen. And they might even tell about a time that something like that happened to one of their friends. How did your friend feel? What did they do? So taking a look at this particular situation card, okay, somebody's built something out of their blocks and somebody has come and destroyed it. Okay, what would students say? What would your students say about this particular idea? What kind of feeling would they have? Okay, kind of pop that into the chat. If I'm looking at this particular card, what kind of feeling are we going to be talking about? Ooh, angry. Frustration is a really good one too. Upset. Yes, they've built something and somebody has destroyed it. So we would talk then about that idea of frustration, that idea of being upset. Students could then use, and I'm going to just turn around real quick and show you that they could then take their blocks and they could actually show that feeling using that, or they could also show their feeling using the character cards. Ooh, rage is a good one too. I like that one. Well, I don't like that feeling, but I do like that idea. Okay, we can also look at an activity called What Would You Do? We would again shuffle and lay those purple situation cards face down, and players would take turns just picking a card and rolling both blocks, the question blocks. And then you would ask one of the other players, how do you feel in that situation? And use the answer to fill in the blank on both blocks. Okay, so take a look at this particular picture. We've got some students who just won the trophy. So let's think about, how do we feel in that situation? What kind of feeling do I have when I'm looking at these children who are holding this trophy up? What kind of feelings do they have? Ooh, joy, pride, happy, excitement. Okay, so all of those are great feelings for that. Now, there are a lot of different, here's where we would roll the question cards. There's a lot of different cards in this particular set. They're very visual. They're very clear. I'll kind of show you the actual physical cards. Okay, I think they look great. Lots of different feelings going on. So those are the situation cards. Okay. And that is the Learn About Feelings activity set. Very easy to use. And it, of course, includes an activity guide to go along with it. Another great SEL product are sensory tubes. Now, I don't know about you, but I think we tried to make these years and years and years ago, and it was a mess. These are now made for you. So they're easy to hold. And I will tell you that I keep one on my desk because I find it very therapeutic as well. So if you've got a corner or an area in your after school program where students go when they're having trouble, maybe getting themselves together, calming down, they're either upset or angry, these color mix tubes are amazing because they provide that quiet yet engaging experience to help your students calm down. Let me let somebody else in. There we go. Okay, so when I'm using it, of course, first you would just have students maybe talk about the changes that they see in the colors as the colors mix and separate. And encourage children to focus on the movement of the bubbles and the colors within the tube as they separate. So very therapeutic at first, but if they're angry and they have that frustration, you want them to shake it. What happens when they shake it? Direct energy, okay? And then they can watch as the tube calms down. And it kind of helps children appropriately direct their energy as they calm down. And they can also turn the tube on its side, gently move it back and forth, observing that wave-like motion. So this helps them feel calmness returning to them as it returns to the colors that are in the tube. Okay. And thinking about, there are different colors in the tubes. This is just one of the tubes. Do certain colors make us think about certain feelings? Does that red make us think about anger? Does that blue make us think about calm, the ocean? Okay. So those are sensory color tubes. And I know that John and Lloyd will have those, I'm sure, in their booth on Friday and Saturday. Another great product are our mindful maze sets. So when we think about mindfulness, we think about it as an important part of emotional intelligence. So it's a good practice to help manage stress and anxiety. And these are not just for students, these are great for adults too. So mindfulness practices that adults may do are things like meditation and breathing exercises, but students can certainly work on those breathing exercises starting at pre-K level. And the more that you take part in these types of activities, the easier it becomes to use them when needed, when you are found in moments of stress and anxiety. So let's take a look at what these mindful mazes look like. So we have actually several different types of mindful maze sets. This particular one has 3 different double-sided boards. They have indented finger paths in them, and the finger paths kind of incorporate those tactile prompts for inhaling, exhaling, and pausing to guide a child through breathing exercises from start to finish. So let's take a look at how we use them. I'm going to show you one so you kind of see the size of it. Okay. Again, they are double-sided. There's an easier side on one side and then a harder one on the other. I would introduce these boards just one at a time to begin with over several days. And I would give students guidance as they trace quietly, tell them when to inhale, when to pause, and when to exhale. Okay. So the markings on the path help students control their breathing. The symbol, the little triangle, shows where to start. So on this particular one, it's right here. And as the line gets bigger, the children breathe through their nose and the belly expands. When there's a dot, children pause and hold their breath for just a second or two. And then as the line gets smaller, children exhale. So their belly relaxes. Okay, so they're starting at the triangle. They're breathing in as they're following the path. When they get to that dot, they just pause and then exhale when they're following the smaller one. So they follow this full path. So beginning breath patterns are on the front. So there's a cooling breath, and that's this one. There's a star breath and what's called a square breath. So those easier breath patterns are on the front, and more advanced patterns are on the back. So there's a steady state breath, rainbow breath, and a laddered breath. Okay, so after the children are pretty familiar with all of the breath patterns, we would maybe discuss situations where the breath patterns might help them manage their feelings. So when a child needs help relaxing or calming down, let the student choose the board that best suits him or her. Okay. Those are mindful mazes. So working with mindfulness, breathing exercises. Great for calming down, great for children and adults. Now, that was just a taste of some of our SEL products. We have a lot of SEL products. So just a couple of others that we have that I just want to show you a quick picture of. Remember that there are more. We have our See My Feelings mirror, and it shows a picture of what certain feelings look like, and they can actually look in the mirror to see what types of feelings they're having. We also have our Feelings Family hand puppets, great for those primary students. We have social emotional task cards. Pause, our calming pup, again works with those breathing exercises and can also be used as a nightlight. And then we have a sensory fidget toy kit, which has tons of different fidget things for your students. And one that I'm most excited about is our new social emotional development classroom station card. Take a look at that station card. It is full of SEL products. Okay. We also have free online resources. So remember when I said we were inventive and we were always coming up with ways to fill the gaps in your curriculum? Well, SEL was one gap that was definitely needed some filling. So we have online at our Teach at Home section online, we have lessons for you. So we have them in other academic areas as well, but we have SEL lessons there ready for you to utilize. Okay, the next thing I want to move on to is we talked about hands-on learning, and we talked about using those hands-on materials. Our company is extremely passionate about having hands-on materials for students in all academic areas. And one in math and literacy, we talk about why we even use or teach with math manipulatives or literacy manipulatives. These are just some of the reasons. It does engage our students. It gets them thinking and doing. It increases their enjoyment of whatever topic you're studying. Okay. We know that when they enjoy the concepts in the classroom, they tend to move further ahead in high school and college, in real life. It makes all of those abstract ideas much more concrete, connects those ideas together, helps students make sense of math and literacy ideas, deepens their understanding, and then it changes that learning from passive to active. And why is that important? Because what we've learned is we use the CRA approach in all of our teaching materials. We've done the research, and students only retain about 20% of information in a passive learning environment. So passive meaning you're up teaching your heart out, okay? Sit and get is what I call it. They're only going to retain about 20%. However, when they're engaged in that active learning, where they've got their hands on the materials, using the materials, and given that opportunity to practice what they've just learned, that percentage increases to 75%. We know that children must hold math in their hands before they can hold it in their heads. So let's take a look at a resource that we feel is great for after-school programs, summer school program, and regular classrooms. We put together what we call a learning at home kit. This learning at home kit, we have pre-K through grade 5. And these kits include the books, and I'm going to walk through what's in those books, as well as the actual manipulatives. So these can be purchased with just math, just literacy, or a combination of math and literacy. So let's take a look at what some of those manipulatives are. Now, when I'm looking at the math manipulatives, these are some of the most common math manipulatives that you'll find across these sets. I'm not sure how familiar you are with them, so I'm just going to kind of briefly talk about them, and then talk about also some of the uses for them. So why you would see these particular math manipulatives. So pop into the chat if you're not familiar with any of these. The most popular ones that you'll see across the grade levels are pattern blocks, color tiles, Rex, and Cuisenaire rods. So are there any that you're not familiar with at all? You can pop that into the chat. But I'm going to talk briefly about each one of those. I can put them under my document camera if you need to see them a little bit closer as well. Just feel free to pop that into the chat. So let's look at pattern blocks. So pattern blocks have, and that's up here, 6 different geometric shapes. So there's a yellow hexagon, a red trapezoid, an orange square, a blue and a tan rhombus, and a green triangle. And they were designed so that the relationships between the side lengths and the angle measurements work together. So if you're looking at these shapes, all of them have congruent side lengths. So all of them have 1 inch side lengths, except for the longest side of that trapezoid, and that's got 2 inches. So that's twice the length. The angle measurements are all related as well. They're all multiples of 30 degrees. So they're great for building designs, what we call tessellations. So I've used these pattern blocks pre-K through 8th grade, and I've used them for identifying shapes, for sorting, for symmetry, for building patterns, working with fractions and congruence, working with area, perimeter, and properties of geometric shapes. So they're great manipulative. These color tiles are just 1 inch squares. So they look very basic, but can also be used pre-K through 8th grade. Okay. So you'll see them in lots of our lessons. I use them with addition and subtraction, multiplication, division, building patterns, starting with basic AB patterns all the way up to quadratic patterns with algebra. I use them for building arrays, for working with area and perimeter, square roots, fractions. So they're an amazing manipulative. In the middle, you see what we call a reckon-rec. So this reckon-rec was developed over in Europe as a calculating frame or a number rack. It usually has 20 beads or 100 beads. Now we do have a longer 120 bead one, but it works on benchmarks of 5 and 10. So it prompts students to see groups and to do what we call supertizing. In other words, seeing numbers immediately without counting every one, and very, very valuable for working on developing those addition and subtraction strategies. So you'll see this reckon-rec used a lot in the primary grades. And my very favorite manipulative are these Cuisenaire rods. So if you're not familiar with Cuisenaire rods, they're just little rectangular rods that come in 10 colors, 10 lengths. They're proportional. So they're great for using for all operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. They're also great for using with fractions, with decimals, with ratio and proportion, prime and composite numbers, and algebra. So all of these are great math manipulatives that you'll see used in our learning at home kits and in our hands-on standards books. Now, I also mentioned that learning at home comes with literacy as well, and there are manipulatives in literacy. So we want to make sure that we're still remaining hands-on as we work on literacy. And some of the literacy manipulatives that you'll see is this phoneme phone. Now, this is a great phoneme phone where learners can speak, they just speak very softly into the receiver. I'll hold one up. So they talk softly into the receiver and they hear their amplified voice directed into their own ear. Okay, so that results in that effective multisensory learning experience. And phoneme phones help students to focus on sounds that they hear in words. It helps them to self-correct while reading. It helps them to read at an appropriate speed, so they actually hear themselves and hear that fluency as they're reading, for mastering pronunciation and to practice the correct articulation of those phonemes. So phoneme phones are powerful. We also have what we call reading rods, and these reading rods are just interlocking color-coded cubes. So we have them with vowels and consonants and blends and digraphs, and children can explore concepts such as beginning letter recognition, and then they can work on rhyming words, those CVC words, initial, medial, final consonant sounds, word families, word parts. Okay, I was going to pull one over and let you just kind of see. Sorry, there it is. So for example, I've built the word robot. And I see that color coded, the consonants have a different color than my vowels. Okay. Also shown here are these finger focus highlighters. These are a fun tool for kids. And it's perfect for helping those emerging readers easily track text as they learn to read. It includes this little wearable ring and different colors, 4 interchangeable colored wands to help students sound out words better, both on page and on a screen. Okay. And finally, up here in the top right-hand corner, I see magnetic chips, a magnetic wand, and some Elkonin boxes. And your teachers are probably very familiar with Elkonin boxes. They help students to develop that phonemic awareness by focusing on segmenting and blending sounds and words. So segmenting is breaking that word up into individual sounds, and blending is putting the individual sounds together as they say that word. So to use these Elkonin boxes, students would listen to a word and they would add a magnetic chip into a box for each sound or phoneme. So for example, if I heard the word wish, I would put a chip down for the W, I would put a chip down for the I, and then I would put a chip down for the SH, because the SH is one phoneme or one sound. Once I place them down in the boxes, I would use my magnetic wand and I would move it across to blend wish. Okay. These are great manipulatives for literacy. Okay, so let's take a look. I mentioned learning at home. So it does have a lot of different manipulatives in it. We have math and literacy, pre-K through 5. So sorry, my sign just says K5. We added pre-K, so I'm excited about that. So in each book, it includes 6 weeks of learning. So it includes those standards aligned math and literacy activities, easy to follow planning calendar, games are included, and every hands-on manipulative that you need for the activities is included in the kit. And Spanish support. So if you need Spanish support, we've got Spanish support in all of the learning at home kits. So let's take a look. This is what an activity calendar might look like right inside your kit. Now, this particular activity calendar was from a kit that had both math and literacy. So taking a look at it a little bit up close, in week 1, first day, they would do an activity called Model It. The next day, explain it. The next day, work with words, then talk about it, and then finally have fun. There's a game to go along with it. So one important part of this book is manipulative support, because we know that if you send this home with kids and working with parents, that they might not be as familiar with what these manipulatives are or how to use them. So in each book is a description of what each of those manipulatives are and how they can be used. We also have great parent support in there. We have parent letters, and those letters are written in both English and Spanish. The lessons themselves are also, the directions are written in both English and Spanish. Very easy to follow directions as well. So taking a look, if I was going to look at a sample lesson for 3rd grade, we might be working on understanding multiplication. Again, that manipulative that's being used are the color tiles, because those color tiles are great for building those multiplication arrays. Notice that the directions are in English as well as Spanish. There's also a game. So by Friday, they've got an activity game. It's got the game sheet that you need, directions in both English and Spanish, and the manipulatives in the kit. Okay. So these learning at home kits, let me just hold up so you kind of see the size of it. This is a learning at home kit for grade 2. And in it, it's got the math book and the literacy book. And the bag is full of those manipulatives as well as the calendar. These kits have been a hot topic for at-home learning when students are at home without the manipulatives in the classroom, for after school or before school programs. They're great for in-centers. They're great for review or remediation, and they're great for summer school. Okay. Another thing I want to bring up are make it, take it science kits, because again, everything is hands-on. These make it, take it science kits have been refreshed and reimagined. So we've actually gone back and kind of took a look at all of ours. We now have 10 different kits. And these kits have phenomena anchored activities. There's a teacher's guide with all of the lessons designed around that 5E lesson model. And there's enough materials and Blackline Masters for 30 students. Okay. So what they're going to do with this is first they're going to build it. We're going to have a phenomenon story, a real life activity for when we would actually use this. Some questions for the teacher to guide that instruction. Then they're actually going to build something. They're actually going to take the materials that are in the kit and build something. And then they can take it home with some extension ideas for their parents and for them to extend their learning. So the make it, take it science kits that we have. Now, I don't totally pay attention to the grade levels because I think they can be expanded and used at different grade levels. But for grades K2, we do have kits in physical science. So we have the wrecking ball and we have the harmonica. I just happen to have a harmonica right here. So we had teachers building these the other day. In life science, they can do the crab claw or the butterfly pollinator. And in earth and space science, they have the erosion jar. For grades 3 through 5, I have physical science, the skydiver. I have the wave box and the spinner. Life science, I have a turtle shell. And earth and space science, I have a seismograph. Another great idea is our makerspace cards. Now we have 2 different makerspace cards. We have a classroom set and we have the larger model as well. And we know that makerspace cards are up and coming for classrooms because everything's contained in one area, all organized for you. All the materials are included. We also have makerspace task cards. So giving the children that idea, maybe you want them to create a slide. Maybe you want them to create a habitat for an animal. So we have K2, 3-5, and 6-8 makerspace task cards. And again, one of the top items that we're very well known for are versatiles. So these versatiles are self-checking. Great for centers, great for after school practice. We have them in math and literacy. We have them in kindergarten through 8th grade. So it's kind of a simple puzzle. So here's what they look like. They have a nice clear back. They're self-checking, easy to use. So what the students would do first is open up their case and they would number the tiles from 1 to 12. Then they would, as they're answering questions, they would move the tiles down to the bottom to reflect what their answer is. Then they would close the case, flip it over, and when they open it, it's going to show, or when they flip it over, it's going to have a clear back and there'll be a pattern. What they're hoping is that they're self-checking, their pattern will match the pattern that's at the bottom of the page. Very easy to use. We do have these in different configurations. So we have them singly. So maybe you have an area where students and parents check out materials. Maybe you have an area where you've got small group. We've got small group kits and we've got large group kits. Here's what a page might look like. So there are the 12 questions at the top. There are the 12 answer choices at the bottom for where they would match their tiles. Okay, so we're going to open it up. That's a lot of information and a lot of talking. We want to open it up for any questions that you might have for us. On with me as well is John Hopkins, and he's with Northern California, and Lloyd Martinez, who's with Southern California. So any questions, you can either pop it into the chat, or you can just unmute yourself and ask us. I hope you found something that intrigued you, and I hope that you'll visit the booth to see some of these items in person. Thank you. We think they're great products as well. Very engaging products.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
My name is Jane. Hello. Now, as a site lead working for an after school program, I usually order a lot of these things. Now, do you guys have a catalog?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They'll have the catalogs and we can put, John, if you or Lloyd will put the address into the chat.
Yep. So
you want to work directly as much as you can with John or Lloyd so that they can work with you on discounts. We all like a discount.
Jane, are you coming to the conference physically?
Yeah, Saturday I'll be there.
We have catalogs in the booth.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. What did you see that you were most excited about?
Well, I really like the tubes, because I have a few students that they deal with, it's hard for them to self-manage, when they're upset or when they get frustrated. I have some that they just get frustrated because they can't finish their homework, and they start to get very emotional and they start to get very upset, just instantly. And it would be nice to have things, at their table, maybe in a basket like that, where they can, that's my big issue with everything right now, is just teaching them to self-manage. It's very difficult.
It is very difficult. So we also have fidget tubes. So those actually do something and I'm sure they'll have a lot of those kind of things in the booth as well. But the color mix tubes and the mindful maze tubes and there's a rainbow fidget as well, where the kids watch the colors come down. So there's a lot of things that you can have in that corner to help them self-manage.
Well, I have purchased some things like these balls and just different little things that
the stress balls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because I have older kids, I have, fourth and fifth, and they're a little bit bigger. I think they would something cooler looking, you know what I mean? Something
Right.
them,
I think so too.
Yeah.
And like I said, I keep one on my desk.
Yes, exactly.
There's something to be said for that.
Yeah, I'll probably order one for myself as well.
That's right. It comes in a set of 4.
Mm-hmm.
So you can spread them around the room and have one on your desk.
Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. So John has put into the chat the link for summer school ideas, as well as the link for the catalog, and providing a 15% discount for everybody. Okay, so Northern California, Southern California contact information is also in the chat, whether you would contact John or whether you would contact Lloyd. Did anybody have questions about any of the manipulatives? Were you pretty familiar with them, or do you need to see them under a document camera, or need other ideas with those?
One of the things we can also provide is great PD resources like Angie. You might have commonly teachers in, say, K-5 have a ton of manipulatives in the back of their classroom in their closet, but they've never used them before. They're not comfortable like with some of the STEM or science, etc., or math manipulatives. We can do a virtual session and kind of customize it for your group of teachers and providers, and the goal is to make it easy, and take them off the screens and give them a calming and an enjoyable, collaborate with their friends, and so that's part of how we can help, is with helping you with the kits and the manipulatives.
That's probably one of the most common frustrations that schools have is they have the materials and they just don't know what to do with them. So yes, we will gladly either come to the school, come to your training, or we can do it virtually where we can walk you through, you tell us which materials you have at your school that you're not able to use or are not sure how to use. And we customize the training so that we focus on those particular materials. We love to do things like that. We want you comfortable in using the materials. I don't see any other questions coming through.
I had a question.
Yes.
Well, my orders usually take a while. So once I get an order started with you guys, I'm seeing that there's a lot of like free, like you were saying, free pages, free all of that. Is it all for all grades or just like certain grades?
We have resources on our website for basically kindergarten through 8th grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
What grade level do you work with?
I have K through 5th, but I want to focus on pre-K. We just opened it this year, so that grade is like really new to us, and it's such a long day for them. Seeing the activities that you had, for them it's like more hands-on, even for the kinders. So I was looking into that, like the hands-on more than the older kids. I was looking at the pages, the printable ones. So I was just asking, like, if it is for all grades, I can, like, while I get an order in, I can start showing my staff, like, hey, let's try this. Let's do this for this day, or include it in the lesson plan so they can start getting an idea.
That's great. Now, remember I said earlier that we are looking at gaps in curriculum, and one of the gaps, or one of the things that schools and groups wanted more of, is more pre-K. We need more pre-K materials and more pre-K ideas. Well, guess what? We just are coming out with Purpose Meets Play kits where they have manipulatives, and we're actually starting with those pre-K level playing first and then guiding them in that playing. And I'm sure that it's a brand new product. I'm sure that John and Lloyd will have some sort of those information or some of those kits at their booth on Friday and Saturday.
Absolutely. And so universal TK, right? But also pre-K, we understand you need to focus on the students that might not have ever been in school. So the SEL products are perfect. And, we have them specifically for grade levels and then grade bands. So you'll see at our booth, a lot of different samples. And then, of course, just going to the website and checking it out. We go to a lot of California math conferences. We're going to be in Bakersfield in 2 weeks for the California Math Council for the Central Valley, and we do literacy. But this is the first time we've done a California after school, and we're really excited because extended learning and summer school, this is perfect. The kids are tired and exhausted. They want to collaborate with their friends and do hands-on activities.
Absolutely. So somebody did ask about the difference between the SEL carts, and John has said that if you go online, go on to hand2mind.com, and you'll see that web address in the bottom of this particular screen. And I think he put a link into the chat. You can see exactly what's in those carts. Those carts are amazing. They are just full of all kinds of SEL products. What other questions you got for us? Challenge us with a good question. I think people are probably on our website right now taking a look at all those products. Make sure that you come by the booth get a catalog, see all the products in person, handle the products, because remember, we are a hands-on company. We want you to actually try the products in the booth. Do not just look at them, but actually try them. Okay. And John and Lloyd will both be there to answer questions for you.
I have another question.
Absolutely.
What do you guys have, if you do have anything, to help them like memorize, like math facts and multiplication facts? I have a big
I'm so glad
challenge.
you asked.
I
I'm
have
so
big
glad you
challenge with
asked.
them.
We do have a
great.
we have a great program called Daily Math Fluency, and we have it for kindergarten through 8th grade. And it works on not just memorizing, but looking at strategies, because we can memorize and they still don't understand number. But when we work on strategies for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, up through percentages in middle school, working on those strategies, just a quick 10 to 15-minute routine every day, we've seen great results from that. So that's on our website as well, Daily Math Fluency. And along with that, we do have center activities that can be done independently that work on those same particular strategies.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I put the link to Daily Math Fluency in the chat box, but to be honest, we have over 12,000 products, and we even have more that we source when we build custom kits. Some districts ask us, hey, I want to mix what I want to pick from your website, but if you just go to the search bar, that might be the easiest way if you're looking for SEL. And we have it sorted by grade level. So if you put what you want in the search bar, that'll typically get you there quicker.
Okay.
Any other questions coming through? I think everybody's playing. We have a lot to select from.
Well, can I ask another question?
Sure.
Okay. Well, since COVID, I know that our kids have come back and they are not just, it's social, emotional, it's academic, it's attention span, it's totally glued to electronics, and it's been very challenging. Have you dealt with that while you're creating your?
Absolutely. Because that's something that's nationwide, that is definitely a problem. So as far as behind academically, we've developed a lot of intervention products. So products that can work with students' deficits academically. We've also, for attention wise, because our products are hands-on, we don't usually have a problem with that. Kids are actively involved using those manipulatives. We also work with screen-free coding. So we know that students are a lot of times glued to a screen of some sort, either computer or iPad or phone, like all the time. So what we want to do is do some screen-free things. So we do have screen-free coding activities that students can work on, as well as that versatiles that I showed you for remedial, for practice, self-check practice. That is great too, that is screen-free.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Well, I wish I was coming out there to the in-person conference so I could meet you guys. John and Lloyd will be there. So bring your questions, Jane. It doesn't matter how many questions. We love questions. We love questions. So it gets us fired up. We love our products. We feel like we have so much to offer you guys.
Jane, what district are you from?
I'm with the Norwalk La Mirada Unified School District.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. It's been very challenging, you know, when, you know, I challenge them, you know, just even to not to even know their addresses and just knowing their, you know, where they live and their phone numbers and all these different things, but they can get on their iPad and they know everything on there.
I know.
You know? And
Isn't that amazing?
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm like, you know, I'm like, what's your mother's, you know, first name? What's your father's, you know? And I try to challenge them when they walk in the classroom like that. And I do, you know, flashcards with math and stuff like that. And they can get in the room if they answer the question, you know. But
Yeah.
I just noticed that they're, you know, just their reading and their math skills, even just doing homework with them and trying to support them with that. And even like our second, third graders, they can't even write their name. So we're using the dot lettering right
Yeah.
now, you know, so it's just been very, very challenging.
We're
and even
seeing
the
things that
social-
we've never seen before.
Yeah, even the socialization, you know, a first or
Yeah.
second grader might not have been to school and you know, doesn't know, you know, what proper etiquette or just, you know, how to act. And so you have to play many roles. We have a deep respect for, you know, all the challenges that you guys are going through right now.
Well, I struggled a lot with bullying. So I've been doing, you know, in the beginning
Oh,
of the year,
yeah.
continuing to just do, the first month was just, you know, just totally on bullying and so but that's still continuing, you know, so it's a challenge, yeah. And just trying to give them, you know, character building words, you know, and starting off the day with the norms of just be kind and be respectful, be present and be responsible, you know, and
It's hard.
just, you know, but you know what, like our every month I do a character building word and it's compassion. So throughout the day, even if they're at snack and they're not being compassionate, or if they're be out doing organized play and they're not being I'm like, are we being compassionate right now? How can we be compassionate right now? You know, and kind of pushing it over the plate to them, like, tell me how you can be compassionate in this situation. Change it, you know?
Mhm. Right.
'Cause
Let them
if you-
speak. That's
yeah,
great.
because if you can change it, it can be fixed. But if
Mhm.
it's your choice, you know, and so I try to do a word like every month and just, you know, um, have them look up the word, give me examples of the word. Sometimes I even do skits where I have them do skits of how to, you know, to show that kind of character, you know, so
Nice.
that they can because I'm a very visual person visually, you know, and it
Right.
just, you know, it's like, let's see what it looks like, you know, so that you can see what it looks like. Because for me, myself, when I'm challenging, when I'm in struggles and I'm, you know, not at my best, you know, when I see myself for that, that's when my eyes really open and I'm like, ooh, that's ugly.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
that's not good. That's not good. How can I change this? You know, so
Mhm.
for them, I tell them, you know what, I go through the same thing as them. We're not any different. We both struggle. You know, we're human beings. This is what we go through, but we can change. We can make choices to change if we want to.
Right. No, wait till they point out some of those things while you're doing, you know, they point, are you being compassionate? Then you
Yeah,
really
yeah,
know that they know what those words mean. Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, we have to work on those social emotional skills. Those are just key to making good adults, you know, having them turn into good people.
Well, even teaching them what those words mean, because a lot of times they
Mhm.
don't even really know what they mean. You know, those are
Right.
big words, you know, and
Right.
we do a social emotional second step with the students, you know, so that works. And a lot of times you know, I'll just create something myself, you know, just out of the situation that they're dealing with at the time. You know, it's like, okay, so like I
Kind of
said, doing,
role playing.
yeah,
Mhm.
role playing, skits, those kind of things,
That's
because
important.
and because we're all here together, we're all here in the same classroom, we're all, you know, we're one, you know, so um
It is their family. Classroom is their other family. It is It
A lot of them,
becomes, a
yeah,
lot of them
them
spend more time there than they do with their family.
Yeah, and a
Mhm.
lot of them come to the after school program because they don't want to be at home.
Right,
So that in itself is another challenge because we know that they're here coming in, like I said, with diverse home lives and diverse emotions, you know, that not just that they go through during the day at school, but just even at home.
right.
Yeah. And they're great, you know. That's why I tell them like sometimes they'll say, "Oh, well, I'm being bad." I go, you know, there's no bad or good. I go, you're just, you know, the choices you're making are not good. It's not that you're not good. You just this
Right,
choice
right,
you
right.
made.
They have a hard
I don't,
time separating that.
yeah, I don't like to
Mhm.
call children bad or good. I don't believe in
Right,
that
right.
thing. Like just like myself, I'm making a wrong choice here. You know, that's not it's not benefiting me.
Mhm.
It's not a positive choice. But because a lot of them come and say, oh, you know, that they say that their parents say that they're bad, you know, they're, you know, they're good. And I get it because I was a parent and I made a lot of mistakes like that myself. But I tell them, I go, no, 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 you know,
Mhm.
we all make wrong choices. And
Right,
but at
right.
the same time, I what I do is I tell them, okay, so what are you gonna do right now? What do you want to do with this person that you've had this conflict with? Well, I want to go say I'm sorry. Okay, well, go apologize. And then the
Mhm.
other person, I go, so what are you gonna do? And they go, I forgive you. And I go, okay, it's over. You're done. Go play.
Done.
You know,
Mhm.
that's it.
Yeah.
It's as easy as that, you know?
Mhm.
It's as easy as that. We don't want to like hold grudges
No,
and make things last longer than they should because no, it's like, no, I'm not going to talk to you. A lot of times with my kids, it's like, if I can deal with it in-house, I'll deal with it. I don't like going and talking to parents and complaining about what's happening because it's like, this is my job to help facilitate how
right.
to do, you know,
Help
conflict
them deal with
resolution.
their feelings. Yes.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
I tell the students, I'm like, they know me. I'm like, you know, I have my expectations on my wall and I go, do we want to get down to number 3? Like, why don't? I don't want to touch any parents. I go, let's try to deal with it, you know? And they're like, okay. And I'm like, okay. So hopefully, you know, that works out. I hope so.
Mhm.
All
Well,
right.
as we wrap up our session, let me know if any of you still need the QR code, but know that that QR code will be in the booth. So if you're in person, Friday and Saturday, correct, John? Friday and Saturday.
Correct.
If you're in person, you'll want to make sure that you fill out click on the QR code. It'll be in the booth. And you might win a great prize.
All right. So
Well,
we've
thank
got just a couple minutes left,
Okay.
and like to take this opportunity to thank Meredith and thank Gretchen for the wonderful presentation, and thank you, Lloyd and John, for the great support. And there will be an evaluation at the end of the day today. So please, all of you folks, be looking for that so you can give feedback on this wonderful presentation. And we hope you enjoy the rest of the virtual convening and hope to see you all on Friday and Saturday right here at the Westin in Long Beach.
That's great.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.